What up, guys? So today we got a question from Joe, who's making the mistake mentally that a lot of people make when they come back to Jiu-Jitsu after a long layoff. So before COVID, back in the day, some years ago, I can't believe COVID has been like almost 5 years now, right? It's nuts. He said that before COVID, he was training Jiu-Jitsu like 7 to 8 times a week. He was obsessed with it. He says that he was a 4-stripe blue belt and, he's really into it. Now, around that time, COVID strikes, lockdowns happen. He's not able to train as much as he would like. And then he gets some unrelated health issues. His job changed, so he had to move and, just a ton of different stuff with life coming at him. He got booted off the mats for a while. Recently, he made his return back to the mats, and he's experiencing some issues. These issues are pretty much the same issues that will happen to almost everybody when they come back after a long layoff. He says, and I'm giving you kind of the gist of it, the shortened version. He says that with when he came back, he feels like he's forgotten everything. Just can't remember all the stuff that he used to know. He just forgot everything. And he says that he is now getting beat by a lot of the people that he changed gyms and he's going to a tougher gym. And he says that at this new gym, like the lower belts are just killing him, right? Because he was a 4-stripe, blue, almost purple, and he's getting killed by some of the good white belts. And he getting a little bit of ego issues going on, getting in the way. And so his issue is, one, how do you maintain a good mindset with the lower belts? And how can he deal with, coming back after a long layoff and not feeling like a fraud and, getting some of this technique back? So, Joe, thanks for the question. So I'll answer it in 2 parts. First off, the fraud part. So you're not a fraud, bro. It's just it's a dumb idea. It's bullshit. Just get rid of it. Think about this. I like to think of, because I tell this to people when they come back to my gym, maybe after a long layoff, it's very similar to riding a bike. I remember years ago, I bought a new bike because I wanted to do some bike riding. At the time, I was living in a house that was right behind a bike path. So I was like, I'm going to get a bike so I can ride on this thing. So I went to this local bike shop to get a new mountain bike. And when I was there, the guy sizing me up, and we find one that I might like. And so I'm like, I guess I'll take this one. He's like, well, why don't you go take it for a ride? And I was like, oh, I can just ride it off, He's like, yeah, of course, go ride. And the thing was, I hadn't been on a bike for like 15 years at the time. And so I didn't even think about it. I was like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. And I start pedaling. And as soon as I start pedaling, I'm immediately, I'm shaking and I don't have good control of the bike. And it just so happened that this bike shop was right next to a pizza shop. And I'm looking at people that are just eating their pizza on a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon. And I'm thinking, oh no, I'm about to crash into this poor family trying to eat their cheesy sticks. Luckily, I got control of the bike and shakily steered it away from them and continued to ride up and down the block a few times to get a feel for the bike, ended up buying the bike, and that was that. Now, over time, over the next couple of weeks, I really started to get a handle on the bike like I used to, and I used to ride a lot more when I was younger. And I think that this is kind of the way that it works, although albeit a little slower when it comes to Jiu-Jitsu. You haven't forgotten everything that you learned. It's just stuffed in some sort of dusty file cabinet in the back of your brain. And the way you sort of get your body to bring that stuff back to the front is by being back on the mats. Because if there's no reason for you to recall this information, your body says, we don't need this, let's store this away. We need other information that's being recalled more often, right? So the more you train, the more this stuff will come back. What you will find is that as you're training, you will catch onto this stuff much quicker. You'll start to go, oh yeah, I remember that. And then you'll be moving around on the mats and you'll probably execute a technique that you had forgotten about. And then all of a sudden you just do it by, autopilot because you have a little bit of muscle memory waking up. And like, oh man, there it was. That was that move I used to hit when I was a white belt or blue belt or whatever. So it will come back to you faster. Trust me, it's the way it works. Give it time, be patient. Now, the next part, the more important part is the mentality part, because if your mindset's screwed up, you're not going to have the patience to do this, right? So think about this. You're going into the gym, you're getting beat by someone, and you're getting, down in the dumps about it. You could do that if you like. You could beat yourself up and talk about how bad you suck and, these white belts, the lower belts, or whatever BS story you want to tell yourself. You can do that if you want to, but you're a human. And so you have this beautiful superpower with every situation that you face to reframe it and to change your perspective. Right? A good book, if you want to kind of just chew around on this idea, is called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. The book is about a guy who, was in a concentration camp during Nazi Germany, and he lost his wife, lost his kids, and through that he found a meaning to keep going. Now, none of us right now are experiencing that. Not anybody watching this video, I'm sure you're not experiencing anything close to that. So we don't have to deal with that, but we can still use that idea of whatever comes our way, we can change our perspective on it. Because for you, right, you're looking at it, it goes, oh man, I'm getting submitted by these guys. Shucks. I don't feel so good about myself. But you could look at it from the standpoint, and this is how I always looked at it when I came back from some sort of layoff, due to an injury, work, whatever it was. I'm back on the mats. Sure, I'm not feeling great. I'm getting smashed. My cardio sucks. I look at things that I should be able to do, but my body's not pulling the trigger. Like, I'm not able to execute on it. But you know what? I'm back on the mats. I'm happy to be here. Better than not being off the mats, right? Or better than being off the mats, right? You could also think about, okay, I'm getting submitted. Hey, that's a good thing. I'm in a challenging environment. Being in a challenging environment is going to make me better, because you will sort of rise to the level of your training partners. As your training partners push you, you're going to get better because of it. So be like, I'm glad I'm here. I remember when I changed to this gym back in 2007, one of my coaches, a guy named Kyle, used to beat the brakes off me. I used to get nervous every time I rolled with him because I knew it was going to be a suck fest for the next 6 to 10 minutes of our roll. But I was thankful for it. As much as I didn't like it, it was the medicine that I needed at the time. I'm glad that I had it. And so, I was like, every time I get smashed by him, I was frustrated to some degree because I wanted to improve, but at the same time, I'm like, I like this. I'm glad I'm here. You could also just look at it from the simple standpoint of, if you're getting submitted, look at what's happening. Why are you getting submitted? What kind of mistakes are you making? Right there, that's a chance to improve. Every training session. So again, you have that superpower. We all have that superpower. Stuff happens to you, things happen. You're in the situation where you still feel like the same person that you've always been, but then you go into the gym and your body says, not today, Joe. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. You haven't been training. All these people have been. It's not the same. You're not a fraud. You're just out of practice. And so you can change your perspective about these situations as they're happening. And instead of looking at them as a negative thing, you could see them as a positive thing, that you're in a good gym, you're being challenged, and you're back on the mats. Good problem to have. So anyway, that's my idea to you, bro. Hopefully that helps you change your perspective, make the situation better. If you want to check out that book, I'll put a link down in the description below by Viktor Frankl. Great book to read, and talk to you guys next time.